My girlfriend said, I could leave you any time. I said, noted. Then I made a move she'll never forget. It started over something ridiculous takeout, I think. Camila wanted sushi. I'd already ordered pizza. Most couples would have laughed it off. But lately, everything between us had become a contest of who could sound less invested. She crossed her arms. You never listen, Dylan. I put the plates down quietly. You never talk. You just compete. Her eyes narrowed. Maybe because I know my worth. Good, I said. Just don't confuse worth with winning. That's when she smirked, leaned against the counter, and delivered the line that would change everything. I could leave you any time, remember that. For a few seconds, the room was silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. She waited for me to argue, maybe beg, but I didn't. I looked right at her and said one word. Noted. Her eyebrows shot up. That's it? That's it! She laughed like I'd just proved her point, then stormed off to her room. What she didn't realize was that I wasn't surrendering. I was recording the moment I stopped fighting for someone who only wanted to test how far she could push me. She tried small provocations the next few days. Late replies, flirty jokes online, the usual, let's see if he cares routines. I didn't react. Instead, I poured my energy into myself. I worked out, cleaned the apartment, updated my resume, even started sketching again, something I hadn't done in years. When she asked why I was quiet, I just smiled. Nothing's wrong, I said, just noting things. The truth? Every silence between us had become a mirror, and in that mirror, I finally saw the cost of staying where I wasn't respected. Camila mistook my calm for guilt. She'd toss comments over her shoulder. You're being weird. Or, if you have something to say it. But silence can be louder than anger. It forces reflection. One night, she came home late and announced, you don't even ask where I've been anymore. I looked up from my sketchbook. You said you could leave anytime. I'm just giving you the freedom you wanted. She froze. It wasn't cruel. It was honest. The look on her face told me she finally understood that I wasn't bluffing. A week later, I moved some of my things out. Nothing dramatic. Just space. I told her I was staying with a friend for a few days to think. She didn't stop me. She thought it was temporary, her game, her control. But something subtle had changed. I wasn't leaving out of emotion. I was leaving with intention. Every step toward the door felt like reclaiming self-respect. And for the first time in months, I breathed easily. Because sometimes, the scariest thing you can do to someone who takes you for granted is nothing at all. It's strange how peace feels heavy at first. I wasn't used to silence. I was used to noise, tension, and trying too hard. But now, every quiet moment felt like strength returning. Camila noticed the difference long before she admitted it. She'd call me at work, just to check in, something she never did before. She started asking questions where I was, who I was with, what I was doing. It was subtle at first, but I could feel the fear in her tone. The same woman who once said, I could leave you any time, now seemed scared that I might actually let her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just stopped giving her the reaction she wanted. I went out more dinner with friends, weekend trips, even signed up for a photography class I'd always postponed. Every step I took away from her orbit made me feel lighter. One evening, Evan laughed as we sat at a bar. Man, you look happy, he said, like a dude who finally stopped apologizing for existing. I smiled. Maybe that's exactly it. Because the truth was simple. When you stop begging for love, you start remembering your worth. Camila wasn't used to being ignored. She'd mastered the art of silence, using it like a weapon, making me chase after her. But now, the tables had turned. She'd call. I'd answer with calm, one-word replies. She'd try to start arguments, and I'd just nod. Okay, sure, you're right. The more peaceful I became, the angrier she got. One night, she slammed her phone down mid-call, texting me, you don't even care anymore. I didn't reply, because she was right, not out of spite, but because caring had finally stopped being painful. The next morning, she showed up unannounced at my apartment, looking furious. Are you breaking up with me? She demanded. I looked at her calmly. You said you could leave anytime. I'm just letting you. Her face fell. It was the first time I'd ever seen her speechless. That silence, the one she used to control me, now belonged to me. And I realized something powerful. The moment you stop reacting, you stop being controlled. While Camila tried to regain her grip, I made my move quietly. The job in Seattle was confirmed. I had 1 week before relocation, a fresh start, waiting on the other side of the country. I didn't denounce it. I didn't post about it. I just prepared. I sold my car, gave notice at my apartment, and shipped a few boxes ahead. Evan helped me pack, shaking his head. You sure you don't want to tell her? I smiled. She told me she could leave any time. I'm just taking her advice. He grinned. Man, this is going to hit harder than karma. That night, I stood by my window, city lights glowing below. I thought about how far I'd come in just a few weeks, from begging for attention to quietly reclaiming my life. Leaving wasn't revenge. It was peace disguised as distance. 2 days before my flight, Camila called, asking to meet for dinner. I agreed. We sat at our favorite restaurant, the one where we used to talk about forever. This time, the silence between us was thick. She looked at me with soft eyes. You've been distant. Is everything okay? I nodded. Everything's great, actually. She frowned. Are you seeing someone? I smiled slightly. No, but I'm leaving next week. Her fork dropped. Leaving? What do you mean? I accepted a transfer. New city. New start. She blinked rapidly, her voice cracking. Without even telling me? I met her eyes. You said you could leave any time. I just didn't know you'd be upset when I finally did. For once, she had no comeback. No power. No upper hand. The dinner ended in silence, not tense, not angry, just final. The next day, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Camila called nonstop. When I finally answered, she was crying. Please don't go. I didn't mean what I said. I was angry. You can't just leave me like this. Her voice trembled the same way mine used to when she'd threatened to walk away. Now, the roles had reversed. I stayed calm. You're right. I can't stop you from leaving, and you can't stop me either. She started sobbing. I'll change. I promise. We can fix this. But I'd already fixed what needed fixing myself. I believe you'll be fine, I said softly, but I'm finally done being someone's maybe. When I hung up, I felt no guilt, no anger, just peace. Because the moment she realized she'd lost me, I realized I'd found myself again. Moving day came faster than I thought. Boxes stacked by the door, apartment keys on the counter, my life compressed into silence. Camila showed up, uninvited. She stood in the hallway, eyes swollen, voice shaking. So that's it? You're really leaving? I nodded. I told you last week. She stepped closer. Can we just talk? I gestured to the packed boxes. That's what this is. My talk. She looked around, tears pooling. I didn't think you'd actually go, I sighed. You said you could leave any time, remember? I just wanted you to know, so can I. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. I handed her an envelope. No ring, no photos, just a note that read, You taught me the value of leaving before you lose yourself. Then I walked away. No slammed doors, no final argument, just footsteps fading into freedom. By the time my plane touched down in Seattle, my phone was a storm of messages. Please come back. We can start over. I'll do better. I turned off notifications. Not out of cruelty, out of peace. Evan texted. Made it okay? I replied. Yeah, it feels strange, but right. The first night in my new city, I unpacked the essentials, a few clothes, my camera, a notebook. Then I sat on the balcony, the skyline glowing like a second chance. For years, I'd been afraid of life without her. Now, I was learning how quiet could feel like safety instead of loneliness. Some people chase closure through confrontation. Mine came through distance. Seattle felt like a reset button. New job, new streets, new version of me. I started running in the mornings, meeting coworkers for lunch, even laughing again, a sound I hadn't trusted in a long time. One afternoon, Evan called. She texted me, he said. Wanted to know how you're doing. I chuckled. Tell her I'm breathing. He laughed. That'll drive her crazy, but I wasn't trying to. I was just done performing pain for someone who never noticed it when it was real. I deleted her number that night, not as revenge, but as release. Because healing doesn't always mean forgiving them. Sometimes it means forgetting the need to. 3 months later, an email appeared in my inbox. Subject line, from Camila. I hesitated before opening it. Inside was a single paragraph. I finally get it. You were the only one who stayed even when I pushed you away. I thought I had control, but you were the one holding us together. I'm sorry, Dylan. I read it twice, maybe 3 times, then closed my laptop. No anger, no nostalgia, just understanding. Because sometimes people don't realize your value until they have to live without it, and by the time they do, you're already at peace. One evening, I sat on the pier watching the sunset melt into the water. The sky looked like a painting of endings and beginnings mixed together. I thought about Camila not with bitterness, but gratitude. Her words had hurt me once. I could leave you any time. Now, they reminded me of something better, my own freedom. I pulled out my phone and typed a note, not to send, just to remember. When they threaten to walk away, don't hold the door. Open it. The waves hit the wooden posts softly, almost like applause. I smiled and whispered, "Noted." Then I slipped my phone back in my pocket and walked away calm, proud, and finally whole.